is, given what research shows about transmission outside, about the low risk of serious illness in children, are these CDC guidelines excessive?
You know, I wouldn't call them excessive, Savannah, but they certainly are conservative. and I think what you're going to start to see is really in real time, continually reevaluating that for its practicality. Because you're right, people look at that and they say, well, is that being a little bit too far right now?
Yeah, because aren't we supposed to be, we've been told, people have been preaching for a year, follow the science. The science doesn't suggest those CDC guidelines are too sensible for little kids outside in 90-degree heat running around with masks.
Yes, Savannah, you've asked me that question a couple of times before.
I'm asking for two kids named Vale and Charlie, age 6 and 4.
Yeah, well, you're right. The CDC makes decisions based on science. They will continually reevaluate that. You're right. It looks a bit strict, a bit stringent. But that's the reason why they keep looking at that and trying to, reevaluate on literally in real time whether or not that's the practical way to go.
Let's get into the fundamental fallacy here first before I start tearing apart just the sub-mediocrity lab coat tyrant Dr. Fauci. Okay, before I start having some fun with that, let's get into the fundamental fallacy that the CDC makes decisions based upon the science. Well, what's happened here is an intentional conflation in the mind of the public that has led them to believe that the science that the CDC is acting on is clear and that no reasonable person could come to a different conclusion. What they're really doing is conflating data and analysis, and they've been doing this all along. They can look at the fatality rate for children, for example, which from COVID is almost zero. It's about half this year in the last 12 months. The fatality from COVID for children, I think under the age of 12 or maybe under the age of 18, is half what the flu was in 2019 during that season. And we're talking about a couple of hundred people total, right? In a nation of over 330 million. And so what we have here is a group of bureaucrats sitting around saying, oh, no, that's too many. Hashtag the science. But a lot of us say, well, hold on a second. Society's been willing to pay a higher price to let children live their lives during flu season for as long as any of us have been alive. So why is the price too high to children now from COVID, right? You see, their rationalizations here, their reliance on referring to this as the science is all a rhetorical ploy. They're making policy judgments, and their judgment sucks. That's the truth. That's what's really going on here. Okay. And, this nonsense with Fauci, I wouldn't call them excessive. I would say they're conservative. They're idiotic, Fauci, you little fascist. It's preposterous. You want to know how bad it is? Okay, here we go. This is from my buddy Robbie Suave at Reason.com. Last week, the Centers for Reason Control, for Disease, they are for anti-reason, for Disease Control and Prevention released new guidance to help summer camps mitigate their coronavirus risk. Given that summer camps involve both children and the outdoors, two factors that render COVID-19 significantly less worrisome and will be opening in the wake of widespread vaccination, one might have expected the CDC to depart from its characteristic over-caution. Nope. This is among the most restrictive, unrealistic guidance the agency has released during the pandemic. It's more limiting than the CDC's guidance for vaccinated people exercising outdoors generally. If followed, summer campers would be miserable, deprived of physical contact, and in considerable danger of overheating. The government has essentially recommended that summer camps treat kids like prisoners. He's right. I looked through the guidance. It's stupid beyond words. The people running the CDC, they're morons, friends. They're morons. They would shame the DMV, never mind the CDC if they worked there. They are bureaucrats who want to keep their perks, want to keep their jobs, and so they do the lockdown libs bidding. That's their whole purpose, and they know it. Walensky knows it. Fauci over at NIAID knows it. They all know it. This isn't about what's best for the children. They couldn't give a crap about the children. How does the New York Times editorial page respond to this? What does the Biden administration think of this? Again, Robbie Suave at Reason.com. Here's what he writes. Here are some of the restrictions. Everyone at the camp, including staff and every kid over the age of 2, must wear masks at all times unless they are eating or swimming. And I guess that's until they come up with, rubber masks to go with the goggles. They should wear 2 layers of masks, especially when social distancing is difficult, regardless of whether activities are indoors or outdoors, end quote. They want your child at summer camp, according to CDC, they want your 8-year-old who is at effectively 0 risk of COVID. If your 8-year-old gets COVID, there is a substantially better chance that your 8-year-old will die from a bee sting than from COVID. But, I don't think you lock him in a bubble and refuse to let him go outdoors all summer. And they're telling you that he has to, or she has to, wear 2 masks outside in the summer heat. Double mask your kids. I mean, the CDC should be abolished. The CDC should be torn down to the studs and rebuilt. And there should be rigorous effort to make sure that you don't just have a bunch of slimy Democrat bureaucrats looking to have low show jobs where they get some fancy title and nice perks to go to meetings and do very little. CDC is horrendous. And this is just another example of it. All right, the next one here. Campers should be placed in cohorts, and their interaction with people outside the cohort should be limited. So there's going to be little groups that your campers are allowed to be in, and then the other campers, they're not really supposed to interact with them. Quote, there should always be at least 3 feet between campers of the same cohort and 6 feet between campers of different cohorts. Staff should keep 6 feet away from campers at all times, whether inside or outside. Distance should be maintained while eating, napping, or riding the bus. The CDC suggests seating kids in alternating rows. I mean, how much more of this can anybody listen to before you just say, wow, Buck's right. Fauci and the CDC upper echelon are unrealistic morons who have no understanding of how society really functions and don't care about. I love this thing that people keep doing now. Well, why is it a big deal to wear a mask? Why is it a big deal to wear a mask? Why don't you just wear a horsehair shirt all the time to pay for your sins? Why not just be uncomfortable all the time? Why is that a big deal? Just put it on. You're not perfect. Just wear a horsehair shirt all the time. It'll agitate your skin. It'll cause rashes and things. But you need humility in your life, right? This used to be a practice that the very religious and different, monks and people did in the Middle Ages. Why not wear a horsehair shirt all the time? It's a great way to learn humility. Oh, okay. Why not wear a mask all the time? Same idiotic concept.
Hey, Team Buck, thank you so much for watching The First on YouTube. If you like this video, please click that little thumbs up button so then it will log as liked. And also, if you want to see more great content from The First, please click subscribe.